G'day folks, here's my thread response to 10 albums that got me on the road to death metal. G'day folks, Jeff here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a thread response to a video that Metal Mickey posted just recently. I'll put a link to it at the end and also below. It's basically the 10 albums on his road to death metal. So 10 albums that influenced him to be the keenster of death metal that he is today. So I thought, I could do that. Why not? That sounds like fun. So now I've got to say, mine are somewhat similar to his, which is no real surprise. There's no super duper underground stuff in our lists, and I think we're of similar elderly vintage now. But it was fun to think about. So this isn't all death metal. Some of this is sort of leading up to death metal, and which I'll explain in a bit when we go through the 10. I'll start by mentioning this mail order catalogue that I have. You might be thinking, what the hell? This is IRD mail order, which is from New York. I think this is like Combat Records' side mail order thing or something, because it's basically, I worked out it must be from about 1987, because it does have like Voivod Dimension Hatred on here. That seems to be about the latest sort of thing on it. So I got this with a record, I'm guessing, possibly Dimension Hatred. Oh, not Dimension Hatred, sorry, Killick Technology. So who knows? At any rate, it's a mail order thing that I never ordered from, but I always used to covet it. I read through it, and they have, the most important part of this is that they've got categories up the top, which you probably can't see for shit on it, but I'll read them out. So ones with asterisks are combat ones, so that's fair enough. There's non-available. There's also HM's heavy metal, HR's hard rock, P is punk, unsurprisingly, S is speed metal, HC is hardcore, BM's black metal, T for thrash, CM for Christian metal, GV for guitar virtuoso, probably ignored that one just as much as the CM one, and lastly DM for death metal. Now I would have got this in my thrash days. I probably had never really heard of death metal, but I remember thinking, oh, death metal, that sounds kind of cool. I'll tell you what though, some interesting choices on this one, that's for sure. Under death metal, and I won't go through every single one, but under death metal they have Destruction's first two releases, Candlemass's, first album, what the hell's it even called? Epicus Doomicus Metallicus. That's death metal apparently. Maybe they meant to say doom metal, I don't know. And Trouble's on here under heavy metal, I think, so Necronomicon, their first album's death metal, yeah, possibly. Exorcist as well. There's Bathory's first two albums of death metal on this apparently, plus Exuma, Pile Driver, Asgard, who I'd never heard before, but I put on the other day. That didn't sound too bad. And so yeah, that was the death metal stuff, which none of which is particularly death metal-y. Amusingly, like around then there was that death metal compilation that I think Noise Records put out with like Halloween, and it does have Hellhammer on it, so it's not too bad, but none of those bands are considered death metal on here. I don't think that Dark Avenger or whatever that random no-name band was on here, and Running Wild's like speed metal or something on this. So the black metal that's listed on here is like Venom, Hellhammer, fair enough, SDI, Sodoms. They've only seemed to have Obsessed by Cruelty listed on here. There must have been other albums by 87. And Samhain or Samhain or however the bloody hell you pronounce it, which not black metal whatsoever. Thrash is pretty minimal, really. There's like, all the big four are listed as speed metal. Dark Angels classed as speed metal. Celtic Frost is speed metal. Even Possessed, Seven Churches is classed as speed metal, not thrash. So the only real sort of thrash ones of note are Flotsam and Jetsam, which is fair enough. They were pretty thrashy, and Anvil, which. Yeah, anyway. So, I never really trusted this particularly. It's there's some good stuff in here, though. There's all T-shirts as well, and this tiny little section up the top for compact discs. So, obviously, and they're like double the price. But yeah, there's T-shirts there. Ooh, nice Megadeth one. Ooh, anyway. So yeah, I looked at this a lot, and that sort of did guide some of my purchases, I think. So... But yeah, we'll get to the albums themselves that sort of led me towards death metal. Now I'll just preface this by saying I didn't have any Celtic Frost or Possessed until quite later, so they're not in this list. I was well into death metal by the time that came around, that's for sure. I'm an Aussie, but yeah, I didn't hear Slaughter Lord until They've been split up for, I don't know, God knows, 10 years or something, so ain't no Slaughter Lord on here. Keep in mind, I'm not the youngest, so there was no internet. I didn't have a job. I didn't do much tape trading in the 80s itself. Later on, my good mate Andy was a keen tape trader, so I'd get some stuff off him, but I was never a pen pal with Euronymous or any bollocks like that, so... Now, I will reference some gigs in this. I started going to gigs in 1989 when I was 15. I saw Metallica and Mortal Sin as my first gig, which was great fun. So there is some reference to some Aussie bands in here, because we didn't really get any death metal until a bit later on when I was already a pretty diehard fan. So this is not going to have any later era stuff. The majority of this is late 80s, early 90s, really, to tell the truth, because that's when I got into death metal. So... anyway, we'll start off, and this one's not death metal, but I consider these guys a huge, like, precursor to death metal, really. Pretty obvious. Slayer, Hell Awaits, the second album, probably their sort of heaviest one, I'd say, possibly. This is the first thing I think I heard of Slayer. This is, keep in mind, some of these memories are a little hazy. We're talking like, 40 years ago nearly. I think I would have heard this in 1986, somewhere around there, so sort of, I don't know, second year or so of high school, thereabouts. So I would have been 13-ish, somewhere around there. My good mate Phil Collins with the G, not Phil Collins with the drums. Different guy, different Phil with drums. I remember him playing this at my dad's house when he was staying over, and he was worried because my dad's he's now a retired priest, and he was worried about I think it's the song Kill Again, talking about killing a preacher's son. He was scared that my dad would be listening to the lyrics and going, oh, yeah, no chance. So, yeah, this blew me away, as you'd imagine. I was at this stage, I was already into Metallica, and definitely Iron Maiden and Twisted Sister. That's where I started, essentially. So, at this point, probably didn't have that much else other than Ride the Lightning. I might have gotten Kill 'Em All or something by then, possibly. I don't know, really. So... yeah, this blew me away. Shit, it's Hell Awaits. Of course it blew me away. So after this, it didn't take me long. I think I actually got Rain in Blood before I actually got a proper copy of this. I just had a tape of it or something. So, yeah, that's the start. And I really do think of these guys as massive influence on death metal. So that was a damn fine start. Now, the next bit was a tape that my brother Julian, my stepbrother Julian, who was like, 6 months older than me, but a year ahead of me in school. He was a bit of a tough guy. He was a bit of a booner, and one of his mates was a guy in my year, about the only other metalhead in my year, Scott Harvey, on your mate. And Scott lent him a tape, even though I don't think Julian was that much into heavy-ish metal. He lent him a tape, and it had on one side Stormtroopers of Death. I loved this. I remember listening to it for the first time, going, loved it immediately. I mean, it's an amazing album. So. It blew me away for quality. It didn't, it's pretty damn heavy, really. But what really blew me away and actually scared me, and I'm sure I've told this before on this channel, but this Pleasure to Kill. This was on the B side of the tape, so I was listening to all happy-go-lucky bloody SOD. Put on this, you got Choir of the Damned, nice little intro bit, and then Ripping Corpse. Holy shit! I'll never forget the feeling of that, of being actual fear of like, shit, should I be listening to this? This is evil music. So yeah, that was, and I mean, again, this would be a huge precursor to death metal bands. Like, be very surprised if any of them hadn't heard this and been quite influenced by it. So yeah, this blew my socks off. Still does, really. It's one of the greatest thrash albums there is. Or speed metal albums, according to this, probably. But let's just double check. I'm sure creators on here. Sorry, might be a creator. Pleasure to Kill. Speed metal, apparently. Yeah, anyway. So, yeah, this scared the socks off me. I loved it. I quite enjoyed that feeling of scared. So, yeah, that would have been, I reckon, 87, 88, somewhere around there. So I was like, yeah, probably got 14 or something by then. The next one I heard on a radio show that I ended up doing myself. Sort of for the same record, same radio station at any rate, 2XX, community radio in Canberra. And I believe, what's his name, Michael something or other, just took over the show again there now. I haven't been on it for years, but I think he might be the one who used to do the Blitz. So good work, mate. I might have to start listening to that one again. So yeah, he used to play. It's just a metal radio show, a couple of hours a night. Oh, once a week or once a fortnight or something. I think it was Friday nights. I tried finding a flyer. I've got like an ancient bloody folded up flyer in very bad shape that I could not find, which is irritating. So yeah, I used to listen to that religiously. I had a tape all ready and recorded it. And yeah, what I recorded was the first two songs off this. This was my proper introduction to pure death metal, and it scared the shit out of me. Holy crap. So first two songs are Leprosy and Born Dead, which I just saw last week, actually. Left to Die just toured Australia, which is like Rick Ross and Terry Butler and Matt Harvey and some bloke from Malevolent Creation on drums. Bloody awesome. Really good fun. All they played was all of Leprosy and, quite a bit of Scream Bloody Gore. Bloody awesome. Really great night. At any rate, wind this back like, 37 bloody years. So this came out in 88. I'm assuming that's when I heard it. It might have been 89, but yeah. I'm assuming it was probably a new release, hence why he played it on the radio, which was 1988. So yeah, I had those two songs on tape, and I would be scared to listen to it. I'd be like, oh, should I listen to that again? And just kept listening and kept working its way in, and yeah. Bloody amazing. I mean, this is still my favourite Death album. I mean, Scream Bloody Gore is bloody cool. I got it. Actually, I don't know if I got it after this or if I got. Yeah, and I probably should be shown Spiritual Healing as well, because I mean, that came out in 1990. I would have bought that new. So it's another sort of early death metal one that I definitely bought. Don't remember when I got Scream Bloody Gore, but I wouldn't have been far off. But yeah, this one, untouchable. There's Rick Ross. He's a very nice chap. I had a quick little chat with him. Oh, there we go. There's the crop top. Had a quick little chat with him as he was wandering around at the gig, and yeah, really nice guy. He even gave me a shot of his whiskey, which he was drinking. He was like, yeah, go on. And I was like driving that night. I already had 2 drinks. I'm like, yeah, why not? That'll be the end of my drinking for tonight. And yeah, nice. Thanks, Rick. Much appreciated. So yeah, this album blew me away. Incredible stuff. I still love it. I don't listen to this enough. I put this on just for the gig, before the gig the other night. I went, God damn, why don't I listen to this more? But yeah, bloody awesome. From there, so that's pure death metal. So we're into the death metal. I was hooked, definitely, well and truly. This next one, I think I probably got when it came out, which was like 1989. It's a bit vague, I've got to say. I'm assuming, I mean, these guys were pretty big. I used to collect Hot Metal, which is like a metal magazine in Australia that eventually I might dig my copies out and flip through a couple of those on camera just for the fun, Metal Mickey style even. But yeah, these guys would have been in there for sure. I hadn't heard any earlier stuff at all. So yeah, Sepultura, Beneath the Remains. I mean, this is not as heavy as Leprosy really, but still, it's another stepping stone on the way to pure death metal supremacy. So, killer bloody album. I mean, shit, I don't need to say much about this. I mean, this is death thrash or heavy thrash, whatever the hell you want to call it, but pretty bloody heavy, that's for sure. So yeah, I really can't remember exactly in the order of things where this came, but it was there, that's for sure. Now, another one that I taped a song off, the Blitz. I mean, I was already well and truly into the death side of things, and don't know if I'd track down a giant amount more, but yeah, another one that stood out. I just got the song, I'll tape the song Evil Spells and listen to it over and over, and you probably know exactly where I'm going, and exactly where Metal Mickey went as well. From Leprosy, well, he went from Leprosy straight to this, but so I don't really know if Sepultura was in between, but who knows. So yeah, Altars of Madness, this is my second favourite death metal album of all time. Still easily my favourite Morbid Angel by a long shot. I still love their other ones, don't get me wrong, but this one, gold. There's the first example of ye old bloody concreted on Modern Invasion sticker. Bastards. So yeah, this stepped it up massively, of course. I mean, Leprosy's bloody heavy as hell, but I'm a big fan of drumming, and yeah, Pete Sandoval was doing quite a bit more than Bill Andrews, that's for sure. I mean, Igor was doing a lot on Beneath the Remains, but yeah, this was, holy crap. So this probably would have been the first thing I'd got with blast beats on it, and yeah, was as addictive as it still is. This is I never get sick of this album. Back when I used to be a healthy guy going to the gym and so on, this was my cardio music because, for the boring treadmill, I'd put this on just because I knew the album that well, and just listening to it would not quite take me to another world, but I'd be waiting for the next bit, and so yeah, time would just fly listening to this. It's untouchable. I mean, this doesn't have Lord of all Fevers and Plagues, sadly, on it, but I think I've shown this off before. So this is a splatter vinyl. That's what old school splatter vinyl looks like, kiddies. Just slight smudges of red on it. So yeah, that's I really should get that in one of those fancy new sleeves that I finally got around to buying. So around this time, I mean, that I'd say was 1989. Again, I'd say the Blitz played that afresh when it first came out. So, and by then I was, so I probably got that. I wouldn't be surprised if I got that for like 16th birthday or something or other, because I would have turned 16 at the end of 89. Yes, I am that old, unfortunately. So around this time, started going to gigs. As I said, Metallica was the first one. The rest of 89 was not really that many gigs, to tell the truth. I mean, I was like 16 or whatever, so I wasn't exactly going to pubs at night or anything like that. So 90 had quite a bit. But more, again, I wasn't even 18 until the end of 91. So yeah, 90, I was still managing. I mean, I was kind of big for my size, and the old bum fluff attempt at a beard. So I managed to get into bar gigs, no problems. Way more than plenty of my mates who were not as large. So yeah, I was going to gigs. There was plenty of cool gigs going on in Canberra in those days. Alchemist is one of the bands that I've seen a lot. Huge influence on me. But I mean, their 91 demo is, I wouldn't even say death thrash. It's more just heavyish thrash. I mean, there's more a Celtic Frost influence than any death metal. After that, they sure enough, they did go pretty damn death metal for Jar of Kingdom, but I'd say they didn't death up until 92 or so, by which stage I was well and truly into it, really. There was a ton of other local bands that most of you would never heard of. Precursor were sort of a proto-death metal band when they first started before they got a proper singer. So yeah, I saw them heaps. Some legend old bands like Prophets of Doom, Mortuary, Disinter, Nemesis, and of course the mighty Gorp Crusher. I would have seen them in 1990. So yeah, probably means nothing to most people, but they're pretty legendary. But the one band that was doing, again, probably more death thrash, but pretty friggin' heavy, and yeah, with two giant Marshall stacks and a drummer that thumps like crazy and growls as well. Good old Armored Angel. Now, this is their Communion, their second demo. This is about when I would have first seen them, I think, in 1990. That's when this came out. I mean, I've got this on tape, but it's in a frame up on the wall there. I'm too lazy to get it out. So you can look at the pretty Hell's Headbanger record version of it. So yeah, these guys, massive influence. They didn't play quite as much as Alchemist over the years, but they played pretty bloody regularly. I didn't go to every single gig back in 1990, but saw them enough. They played plenty of youth cafe gigs, which are the all ages ones that us youth could go and see. So yeah, and they were heavy as shit, looking cool in leather jackets and tight jeans with Marshall stacks and spiky guitars. Bloody awesome. So yeah, these guys, huge influence. I mean, they're a massive influence on the whole Aussie scene, but especially the Canberra scene. They were worshipped, that's for sure. I never saw them back in the earlier days, like when it was just Lucy and three other blokes. So, but I saw them a lot around this era, and yeah, untouchable stuff. And yeah, Why Fist Your Face. Oh, there's just such, Christian Slaughter, all their cool ass songs. They're so much fun live and just heavy as hell. So yeah, that certainly booted me along the road, that's for sure. Now, the next one is an obvious one, given my my love for this band. I'm pretty sure this happened in year 12, because I remember two different mates playing me these guys. And year 12 for me was 1991, so I'm still wondering if it might have been a year before that I heard this first one. But yeah, Autopsy, Severed Survival. So yeah, this is the second cover, but this is the first one that I actually bought the original of. So, yeah, my friends Adam Brzezowski and Nick James both played me, well, a tape from a boombox in the car park next to Copeland College where I did year 11 and 12. So if I was they were a year below me, so either they were lingering around at college for some reason when they should have been at high school, or it was year 12 and I was in year 12 and they were year 11. So thanks, lads. You did a damn fine job. So yeah, unsurprisingly, any song on this, if it's played to you, you'd be like, whoa, yeah, that's the good shit. So immediately, instantly hooked. So much so that, I bought this when it was new, when it came out, sort of thing, or close enough to it at any rate. So this is my original one. Yeah, it looks pretty crusty. So yeah, this is my favourite death metal album of all time, as you no doubt know from my Peaceville ones. And yes, I might as well mention it, but I will be doing eventually all my Autopsy and Chris Reifert related crap. So that could be a long video of me just holding up record after record, but yeah, it could be fun. So yeah, this one, I mean, this is the best death metal album there is. So yeah, I was super duper hooked at that point. Now, one of the other ones also happened in college, and this definitely was year 12. I used to do a radio show that played in the college itself. And when I say college, this is just, year 11 and 12 at the end of high school, basically. In Canberra, they split it apart into a separate establishment where you do year 11 and 12 separately, and you can, call a teacher by their first name and leave at lunchtime when you don't have a lesson and stuff. So it was really quite good. I very much enjoyed my college years. But as part of that, I was a good mate of mine, Rill, who was a year below me, which is why I know that he would have been year 12. Yeah, I played radio, and everyone did. All it did is play it in the canteen. And so my one was always like, when hardly anyone was in the canteen. So the poor staff having to listen to me playing horrible metal crap for like an hour or whatever. And yeah, Real asked me to play Blaspherian off good old Deicide's first album, which was a bastard because I had it on tape, and so he gave me a tape, and it's, Blaspherian's like, what's the fourth song or fifth song or something or other. Yeah, something like that. So I'm like, I think I might have had the lyrics. I think he might have given me his original tape, so I had to like work out what bloody song it was, which was a nightmare. But yeah, this one hooked me pretty bloody quick as well. So, I mean, another ridiculously legendary album. So yeah, that one did the trick. So yeah, that was 1991. That came out in 1990, but obviously, as I said, I didn't have unlimited wealth or anything like that, so, or the internet to download all this crap. I really do wonder what my taste would be like if I just had access, to everything like these days. So around the same time, I finally discovered Napalm Death. Now, I don't remember exactly what I would have heard first. When Harmony Corruption came out in 1990, they had, this is just a bodgy reissue, and I think I've got an original CD, but I never did get the original LP version of this. When this came out, they had, Earache had their god-awful film clips, and there was one for Mind Snare, which actually was just live stuff, wasn't too bad for the usual cheapo Earache ones. So I would have loved, I love that song. I had that taped off Rage, which was our, MTV kind of thing of Australia. So I definitely had that. But I also had a video that I borrowed off my mate Jesse, who'd, I think, bought it off Andy, like our good mate and tape trading extraordinaire fellow. He would sell like dubs of his videos to, a bit of extra cash, fair enough. He had to send away for it and trade it and all this sort of stuff. I'm sure he would have preferred it to trade. But yeah, Jesse had, I assume, bought it for, $5 or God knows what. And he lent it to me and said, don't dub it, no, I'll get in trouble. So, of course, I dubbed it. Probably still got it in a box somewhere, I wouldn't be surprised. And yeah, it was just like a million different clips, stuff literally off MTV, like Prong film clips and Danzig Mother and all sorts of stuff on there. But one of the two Napalm bits that I got off that was, obviously the classic Lee Dorian, Bill Steer era where they're on that show with bloody Craig Charles, is that his name? Lister from Red Dwarf. And they do, it's like a kids' music show, variety show in England, and they do the song From Enslavement to Obliteration. It's ridiculous. Beautiful video. But also on there was like just a live clip of, I'm pretty sure it was Unchallenged Hate, and pretty bodgily filmed, as you'd imagine. Barney era, so around this era, full 5-piece lineup sort of thing. Barney with blonde hair, so actually, maybe I did hear that after this, who knows. And yeah, doing Unchallenged Hate, and just Barney's vocals just wiped everything out, and I just love that so much. So yeah, Napalm pretty rapidly. I can't remember if it was this or if I got a tape of Scum first. Either way, probably around the same time, and I mean they sound completely, it's totally different lineup to Scum, obviously, except for Mick Harris. But yeah, I mean, they sound completely different. So that was an odd time for Napalm, but yeah, I'm still a Napalm fan. I'm loving their stuff. So that's number 9. Number 10, and I mean, again, there's other ones around this time that I don't remember the exact timeline of all this. At some point in there, I heard Grind Crusher, the compilation, which I should have got out. It's the Earache compilation with, Bolt Thrower, Carcass, Morbid Angel, Napalm Death, etc., heaps of stuff. I do remember hearing that, but I don't remember the exact timing of that, so I think that might have sold me on Bolt Thrower, even though it's a song off Realm of Chaos. But the first one that I actually got, and I assume relatively new, was Warmaster, which is 1991, so would have been at least probably 18 by the time I got this one. Another little Modern Invasion bloody sticker. Thanks, Jason. Thankfully not actually on the print. But so yeah, this is, gotta show that gatefold, mate. So yeah, I love this. I mean, it's not my favourite Bolt Thrower, either Realm of Chaos or For Victory. I can never really pick. But this is the first one I got, and I've listened to it a shitload. Yeah, absolutely sold. Quick smart on this. Very glad we got to see them tour in 93 or whenever that was. But yeah, so this is my number 10. As I said, there's other ones around then. I can't remember when I bought this. Would have been around the time. I mean, this is 1990, but same goes for Left Hand Path. This is 1990, as is old mate Carcass. This is Symphonies is 90. Oh, this is 89 actually, but I'm pretty bloody sure I didn't get it in 1989. So it's all a bit vague, to tell the truth. Now by 91, I also probably would have heard Necrotomy, I think, as far as Aussie horrible death metal stuff goes. Again, I've got the tape up there, but I'm too lazy to get it out. So this is their Erectic Awakening tape from 91 or maybe 92. So I would have heard it around then. I think Andy no doubt would have played it for me. He was mates with them. I did get to see him at that legendary gig that I'll yet again put the flyer up of, because I just that flyer's so good. Plus the gig was so amazing. So yeah, 92 was more a gig year for death metal. Definitely Alchemist, I'd say, would have been pretty damn deathy by then. We got Morbid Angel touring on Blessed of the Sick. We got Sepultura touring on Arise. That's when I saw that Archeron Necrotomy gig, and at that gig is when I first heard Disembowelment as well, as far as Aussie death metal goes, which of course blew me away. I mean, as did Archeron and Necrotomy live. So yeah, from there I was just all systems go without a doubt. Never looked back. And yeah, I've been obsessed with it ever since, to tell the truth. As I said, there's no Frost or Possessed or anything like that. There's probably a batch of other ones that I missed out on just because, either my mates didn't have it or I just didn't like it or just didn't get around to hearing it. It's a band like Immolation. I didn't hear them until I don't know, mid to late 90s sort of thing. I don't know why. I mean, admittedly, they didn't do much after that first album for quite some time, but yeah, I just never heard Dawn of Possession at the time, so it was, I think, it probably was. It was probably close to World Below was my first one. I was like, what the hell? So yeah, there was once I remember that once I got into death metal, thrash was just like, no. I still liked what I already was a fan of. I still listened to Sabbath all the time, and Metallica and all sorts of stuff. But once it was death metal, that was it. I mean, grind as well, obviously. Black metal stuff to a point. I mean, I still remember getting A Blaze in the Northern Sky when it was new. I mean, I think I already had heard one song off that Peaceville Volume 4 compilation and was like, what the hell's going on there? This doesn't sound like Soulside Journey, which again was another pretty early one. I remember getting a tape off that from Andy I think it had Soulside Journey on one side and Type O Negative's first album on the other, so that was a well-used tape, that's for sure. But yeah, from there, haven't looked back. I could have done this by putting in some even more brutal stuff. Like, I mean, Suffocation was in there as well. But, the first time you hear something like Devourment 138 and go, oh, shit, that's another level of craziness. Don't remember when that really was, to tell the truth, quite a while ago. But, yeah, I do kind of crave that feeling of fear again. Only other time I've, had it ever since, and was what's a band? Sutcliffe Jugend. I got one of their albums dirt cheap from JB Hi-Fi. It was a Damien, I think, must have ordered a heap of Cold Meat Industry and Cold Spring and all that stuff, and yeah, I just bought it all for $2 on sale. And yeah, sure enough, there was Sutcliffe Jugend, which is like a, I don't know, power electronics or noise band, and yeah, that was with really harsh, super abrasive vocals as well. I was just like, oh shit. But again, wasn't that quite that level of fear that I got from Pleasure to Kill and from Leprosy, so I miss that. But who knows? One day I might feel it again. I do wonder what death metal is going to sound like in 50 years or 100 years. Probably shit, or probably just this is a 10th wave, US death metal Florida style band. So yeah, who knows? Anyway, I'm rambling. I hope you enjoyed this little insight into my past. Thanks to Metal Mickey for dredging up a thread by God knows who originally. Quite enjoyed doing this. So, yeah, I encourage everyone else to do your own version of this, because why not? It's good fun. I like hearing origin stories, as it were. So, anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon. Cheers.